But anyway, Saturday night was great from the fans. What was interesting is typically when we sign autographs afterward, it was probably the record for how long we signed, but typically it's older fans, it's longtime season ticket holders, people who had season tickets in the Coliseum. But what I noticed Saturday night, I saw more young kids, young families, and I always ask them where they're from, what they're doing, from all over the state. So it reminded me and reinforces one of the reasons we moved to Devaney was to open up a whole new generation to Nebraska volleyball. And by doubling our seats, these are the people that are coming to watch and become Husker fans. So not only was it a great red-white scrimmage, but that was pretty special to see that. This week, got 4 great teams here, and all these teams have high expectations this year, and should be a great opening weekend tournament.
John, the coaches poll came out today, and you're number 2 behind Wisconsin. What are your thoughts?
I don't have any. I mean, last year we were picked number 1, and what did we finish? 5th. So I just know there's a lot of really good teams in the Big Ten, and I think I could probably name off 5 teams that could probably be number 2, no problem. So we know how tough it is, and I know what our schedule is, and we've got really tough opening part to the Big Ten, and we've got Wisconsin, Minnesota back to back, and so along with everybody else. So it's the Big Ten is really, really tough, and I think we just go in the mindset, you take it 1 point at a time, 1 match at a time, and see where you are at the end.
Going into the season, how comparable is this year's team to last year's?
I don't know. We got to wait to see when we play to see how much we miss Michaela and Kenzie, and those 2 guys were big parts. So we got to see who's going to step up. And the Red White's a great opening night, opening act, but now we got to see how that's going to go under playing other teams, really good teams, and how it'll play out. But we've trained really well. Our level in the gym's really high, and probably a lot higher last year, the competitive level, just because our freshmen have been here all summer and went to Asia. So it's like we don't have freshmen anymore. And so I just feel like the level is way higher in the gym. Now, how that transfers to matches, I don't know. We'll all find out together.
John, how have you seen the Creighton match and that rivalry build over the years here?
Well, it started way back where it was a convenient match, and Creighton was struggling back then, and now it's 2 top 10 teams in the state. So I think I wouldn't call it a rivalry for us. I would call it more of it's a great celebration for volleyball in this state. You're going to have a lot of Nebraska kids out there. These are 2 in-state teams. What other sport has 2 top 10 teams in Division I? And so I just think it's a great reflection on volleyball in this state. And I think the next step for volleyball in the state is to get all 3 teams, Division I teams, in the NCAA tournament. Now that's going to be a pretty big deal when that happens, because we have a state of 1.9 million people, and that's not happening many places.
John, how much does that add to the anxiety of the first game? There's always some nervous moments before the opener, so you want to see how your team performs, but knowing you're playing a team from in-state, that's pretty high.
I don't think with these guys that matters. I think Saturday night was where the nerves were. I think now there's a big sigh of relief. I can just see it in our players. They're getting through that. You weren't there, but I told a story. I asked Kelly Hunter, about her first red white, and she goes, it's a complete blank to me. All I remember is my hands were shaking. I couldn't stop shaking. So that just puts in perspective what that first night is. I think now everybody takes a deep breath. I think there's more pressure Saturday night than there will be this weekend, just because they're playing each other. There's a lot on the line. They want to do well. They want to perform well. So I think they'll be excited to play good teams. See what we got.
How is the libero race shaking out? Anything yet? Or?
I think Kenzie Knuckles did a pretty solid job. She's got to get better. Haley was really good too. So we'll see how this week goes. And I don't think anybody. I told them, I said, you better not be comfortable thinking you got your spot locked up, because I saw a lot of good things Saturday night.
When do you plan on telling them who's going to start that first match?
Probably at 6:05 on Friday night.
You compare this to past pre-seasons. Were you able to do more or try new things this year just because you had a group that was together in the spring and you got a second-year setter?
No question. We instead of building the race car, we were driving the race car from day one. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this preseason was 3 days longer than last year. So it allowed us to, I think, put together a good training program, and how we competed and how we trained, at a good mix of fundamentals, but really good competition days. So I just feel like we got a lot more accomplished. We had more time and so much farther ahead.
How valuable are this week's practices going to be based on what you learned Saturday? Team ready for that?
Well, every week, every practice is super important. I mean, we talk about a sense of urgency on every second we can be in their training and getting better. And we look at it as a race for reps. How many reps can we get? How much better can we get today in the time that we're allotted? The difference now is they've got night classes, they've got school, we got people coming from class, so we have to be even more efficient with our time. And we actually did Friday, we did a rehearsal for how we would go through practice this week, and kind of the drills we would do and the tempo and starting, just because I don't want to waste a day this week making sure everybody knows what we're doing, because we still got freshmen that haven't started school officially and been in a week practice during the school week.
How much of your time this week is we spent on serving?
It's the same as every week, a lot. You ask our players. There's never a day. If they come to Nebraska, they're going to work on serving every day of their career here. And but we're really good. We're going to be a really good serving team. It's just, again, it's nerves. And it's just like you guys, when you try to hit a 3-foot putt with nothing on it, sometimes that hole gets small. So anyway, we work through that. So.
Most of those serving errors on Saturday night was nerves.
It's nerves. It's trying too hard. It's not understanding their routines, controlling their adrenaline and so on. So, but we always work on serving. Ask them what the most important drill every day is. Just ask the players that next time you talk to them.
Every year you guys come up with a different slogan or motto. Do you want to share that? Is what you keep?
Yeah, we got to be continued, which is reflective of they want to build off of last year, continue the tradition of our success the last few years, and not have 2 players graduate and determine that success changes. So that's one of their themes, and they've got a whole list of things on how they're going to do that, which is in our ready room. And then the other one is 29,029 feet, and so that's a metaphor, or is that right, Aaron? Metaphor or an analogy? What's the word? Using Mount Everest as a metaphor for the season. Thank you. I failed English, remember. So Mount Everest is their thing, and the elevation of Mount Everest is 29,029 feet. And if you ask people, they'll say the elevation of Mount Everest is 29,000 feet. Well, the last 29 feet is the hardest part of climbing Mount Everest, and that's when a lot of bad things happen. And a lot of people get up there to get to 29,000, but they can't finish. So that's their metaphor. You'll see it on their shirts, 29,029, that they got to finish that last 29 feet. And they all came up with that, so which makes it really powerful when a group of people use those types of things to rally around and have a theme for the season.